Good afternoon. Our program today is new and senior member profiles. We have 3 presenters. Our first one, he wouldn't even sit up here with us, so I'm presenting Hans Lehman. He is a captain with the Lakeland Police Department and was brought into our club by our own Matt Brown. Hans, it's yours.
Thanks for having me today. My short time here, it's been really nice getting to know a lot of you folks here. I spent a lot of time on night shift, so we didn't always meet the really nice people on nights. But with that said, just a little bit about me. My profile, Carol said I had 5 or 6 minutes, so I'll try to get it done. Born and raised in Lakeland. Went to Kathleen High School. I know there's a lot of LHS alumni in here, but I know there's some Kathleen alum in here as well. So. Went to Kathleen. Most of you know my family, or my father. My sister's running it now, but my father started Jimbo's Barbecue back in 1964. So 53 years running and put me through college. So thank you if you ate during that time. I appreciate it. I got my degree because of it. So went to Stetson, met my an undergrad over in DeLand, met my wife Tori. Works with Mike Carter at Clifton Larson Allen. Be married 24 years this April. Have 3 sons, 20, 19, and 7. Had a little oops there a few years ago, but it's all okay now. So college and elementary, but my oldest is in Army ROTC at Embry-Riddle as a junior, so hopefully he'll one more year commission, and he wants to fly Blackhawks. My middle one is a freshman at Samford University in Birmingham, and then Wes is my 2nd grader. So he's at Lakeland Christian. A little bit about me too. I always dreamed about being a Lakeland police officer. So when I turned 14, they had a Police Explorer program, and the day I turned 14, I joined. So I remember riding with Chief Giddens when he was an officer and I was an explorer. So known him a long time, riding with him, doing that. Came back to Lakeland, was hired in 96 after I got college and worked a couple other places. My fire and EMS intrigued me a little bit. Matt Brown almost kidnapped me into the fire service, but just wasn't sure about sitting in a lazy boy all the time. No, just kidding. I'll pay for that one later. No. We're good friends. So, but when I was in college, I did that, and I must have liked it because I had like a 98 average going to EMT school and fire academy, but my college GPA wasn't. I graduated, so I did that. Been with Lakeland for 21 and a half years now. I've done a lot of different things. Spent a lot of time as a DUI officer, traffic homicide investigator, our honor guard, lots of different things like that. As a sergeant, I was in charge of our canine unit. I managed the program. Never worked a dog, but had 8 handlers and 8 dogs, and that's enough to work there. Our DUI unit, we had a helicopter. If you guys remember that, several years ago, I was in charge of the managing the budget for that. Dive team, a lot of our special components I was over. Lieutenant, when I made lieutenant, I was a patrol shift commander, but I also did about 2 years in internal affairs, and that's when we investigate our own, and that's always not a fun thing to do, but it's something that we have to do. So I did that for a couple years, and then went to community services where we had the school resource program. Definitely have a completely different outlook on SROs now than I did before then, and the stuff that those folks have to deal with on a daily basis. Did a lot of special event management, did a lot of sun and funds, and a lot of Christmas parades. So also I was drug recognition expert, but that deals with drug impaired driving, and I'm a nationally certified drug recognition expert. Been doing that for 17 years. There's only about 200 of us in Florida. So that's kind of a neat thing there. Just a couple highlights on my career. I got to meet President Bush. He was here in 2004. during his election campaign or re-election campaign. He came to Lakeland. I was part of the special events team that worked with Secret Service and all that security. And at the end of every visit, he always let a few members of public safety take pictures with him. So got to get a picture with President Bush, got a picture with Marine One the day before. But to this day, it's probably one of the firmest handshakes I can remember. So definitely seemed like a sincere and genuine guy. The F-18 there is from Sun and Fun, taking off. They were heading back from the air show. So did both of those, but those are some pretty good points in my career. Oh. A lot of you guys remember this. I don't mean to be down and dreary, but in 2011, Officer Crispin was shot and killed in the line of duty. And with all my honor guard and special events management experience, I got tasked with coordinating and planning that whole funeral and everything that goes with it. I had a huge team with me, and we had a huge turnout from the community. Poured down rain on the day of the funeral. We got through it, but trying to honor him and honor his family for what he did was a pretty awesome experience for me. It was right during Christmas too, so there wasn't really any time to celebrate Christmas because his funeral was the day after. The other part of that ties into the Fallen Heroes Memorial. I know Rich from Fit Niche is here. He helped us with a Fallen Heroes 5K run a couple years ago, and that was a big precursor to us getting our monument built out in front of the station. So if you guys see that at night, it's really neat to see doing that. And another big part of that for me is with Honor Guard and stuff, there's a bike ride called the Police Unity Tour, and I did it from 2009 to 2012. It's a 3-day, 250-mile bicycle ride from Norfolk, Virginia to Washington, D.C. It's 110 miles the first day, 70 and 70 through the hills of Virginia. So that's a lot of time in a bicycle. So a lot of riders there. That's the Southeastern U.S. group. We have about 180 riders that do it. One of these days, I'm going to get back on my bike and do it again. It's just a really unique experience. You ride for a fallen officer and you meet the family the last day when you arrive at the memorial. So that was really impressive to me, and I learned a lot just about me and riding 110 miles on a bicycle in one day. You're very sore at the end of the day. But that's kind of me in a nutshell. As far as I go, I'm enjoying my time in Rotary, and I appreciate everything you guys have done and welcomed me. I really do appreciate it. And before I turn the mic over, though, I need Jim Russell to come up here.
Wait a minute.
This will go really quick. I don't know if you guys remember, but I heard it very clear. A couple months ago, he did his member profile, and in Jimbo's, there's a picture of me with my dad with a lot of hair. I have no hair now, just about. So Jim talked about being an auxiliary member for us for 12 years, 10 years. And so I tried to find pictures of him when he was young back in the day. And so, but before I show the picture, I've got one of our department challenge coins. I wanted to give him and thank him for his service to LPD. I apologize, but it was just a really good picture. Thank you all.
Our next presenter is Jenna Livingston. Jenna is a marketing specialist with Intense Inc., and she covers a lot of Polk County, but primarily her accounts are here in Lakeland. And just come on up.
Here we go. Well, good afternoon, everyone. I'm really grateful to be a part of the Lakeland Rotary Club. I'm a very new member. I just got my blue badge about a month ago, so it feels good to start getting to know all of you. So a little bit about me. I was born September 24th, 1985, which makes me 32 years young. And I was raised in a little village called Moosup in Connecticut. And I lived there for the first 19 years of my life. I have amazing parents who are still together today. They've been married for 36 years and 7 months. I have one brother. He's 5 years younger than I am, Jeffrey, and he is a math genius. So whenever I need a math tutor, I can look to him. He's about to be a high school teacher teaching trigonometry and calculus and all the types of math that I have not taken yet. So hopefully, I do like math, but I don't ever have to. So I had a great childhood. When I was about 7 years old and it was summer, my grandparents lived in the apartment attached to our house, and I kept saying, I was 7 years old, and I kept saying, I'm bored, I'm bored. So my meme, which is what I called my grandmother, she said, okay, we're gonna do something about that. So she enrolled me in dance classes. So at the age of 7, I started doing tap and jazz, and I proceeded to dance for 11 years. I did tap, jazz, ballet, modern, hip hop, and did regional and national competitions, and I just loved it. So from my middle school to high school years, I spent about 8 to 10 hours a week dancing, either dancing in a class or in a team or being an assistant dance teacher. So I really love that, and even though I stopped doing that formally at the age of 18, I still love to dance today. It's one of my favorite things to do, so I do it as much as I possibly can. You know, a lot of people, so when I graduated high school in 2003, my dad was on the Board of Education in Plainfield, Connecticut, and our graduation was on the football field, and so he had the opportunity to hand me my diploma, you know, and it was a beautiful day out, and so as soon as he hands me my diploma, the sky opens up and it starts pouring, and we just knew, uh-oh, here we go. What's going to happen next? You know, a lot of people have told me, and I feel this way about myself as well, that I'm an old soul. I've always tended to surround myself with older people my whole life, even growing up, hanging out with the older crowd. I really love the Grateful Dead. I love the Beach Boys. That was an amazing presentation last week. I do love all kinds of music. But you know, I've always been told that. So when I was 19, I decided to move to Florida to kind of get away from Connecticut and the cold weather, and you know, things at that time were kind of getting challenging for me. I was attending college in Connecticut for hospitality management, which was my original love. I really loved the restaurant industry at that time, because I started working in a restaurant when I was 15. And you know, quickly started serving and just really enjoyed it. So I thought that was my love. Well, I went to college in Connecticut at Three Rivers College for hospitality management, and then I moved to Florida. And during that time, I was going through a difficult time. And that was in 2005. I found myself really struggling with addiction. So in 2007, I hit a moment of desperation and decided to join a 12-step fellowship, which I've been a member of ever since. And and the reason why I share that experience with y'all is because I'm here at Rotary to be who I am. You want to know who I am, and this is me. And the reason why I feel like it's really important for me to share that is because from that experience, I have a real true heart for service. I personally feel that I feel a lot of gratitude for what has been given to me through that whole process. And I feel like no matter how much service I do, whether it's in the fellowship or in the community, I could never give back enough that's been given to me. So I feel real strongly about that. And you know, currently, my loves are, you know, I really enjoy. Regarding my different committee memberships, I guess you could say, and the things that I'm involved in with service, I'm currently the chair of the PR subcommittee for the fellowship that I'm a member of, which spreads the word so that people who are struggling with addiction know they can find a place to go. Because there's a lot of people in the community who are struggling with that, and they don't know that they can find a new place to go where they can find help. So I feel real passionate about that. I'm also the membership chair of Better Living for Seniors. I've really enjoyed being a member of that organization. I love that. And I'm the sponsorship chair for Endeavor Winter Haven. So Carol said I spend a lot of my time in Lakeland, but I live in Winter Haven as well. So I'm really trying to be more involved in the entire community. I married my amazing husband, Matt Livingston, on March 19, 2017. So we're coming up on 1 year of marriage. So I don't know if y'all remember your first year of marriage, if you're married, but it's been really exciting. Just holding on. Through that experience, 3 years ago when we first started dating, before he proposed, I acquired a 10-year-old child. So, Garrett, he's now coming up on 13 years old. He lives with us full time, and that's been a truly amazing experience to be a mother. Currently, I am, like I said before, my original love was hospitality management. Well, in this whole experience, back in 2010, I had this opportunity to start working at a personal injury law firm. So I started out as a receptionist at a law firm in Winter Haven, and then within less than a year was promoted within to be a new position within the firm doing marketing. So I was the firm's marketing coordinator for 5.5 years, and I really loved that experience. It really got me excited about the legal field and about law, and I had different ideas. Maybe I want to go to law school, and I still kind of am, thinking about that in the future. But through that experience, in 2015, I decided to do my own marketing consulting for a year and just kind of see how that goes and do some entrepreneurship, I guess you could say. And in that experience, I needed some print materials, and I knew Intense Ink was a real live place. So I went there and stumbled across an opportunity. So now I'm in love with the printing business, and it's amazing. And I really love it because of the main thing that we do, how I get accounts and everything is through networking, getting to know people, and I just love it. I just love the job that I have. But I'm currently working that job, and I'm also back to school, going to school full-time at Polk State College. And I'll be completing my associate's degree in business administration and marketing this year. And I plan to go on to get my bachelor's, so I'm thinking about Southeastern University, so we'll see how that goes. I really want to get my bachelor's in marketing, but I'm still my husband and I, we've been vegan for the past 6 months now, so we're really involved in fitness and health, and back in 2012 I was diagnosed with cancer, and during that time it really opened my eyes up. I've been cancer-free ever since. I was diagnosed in March with Hodgkin's lymphoma, 2012, and I was cancer-free by July 9, 2012. So, yes, thank you. So I was completely bald, also on my hair, so it's grown back this much since then. But through that experience, the main thing of going through that was to have a positive attitude, and to just have faith and through that whole process. But from that experience, it got me really interested in health, being healthy, and finding the best way to do so. So I'm really interested in that. And I'm just very proud to be a part of the Lakeland Rotary. The company I work for, we're really getting involved in Lakeland. We're the proud official printing partner of the Lakeland Magic. We work with the Lakeland Chamber. We're really excited about being more involved in the community. So thank you all so much for welcoming me into this club, and thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer, being so transparent and trusting us with that information. Our last presenter needs no introduction. Dorsey Hightower. He is a longtime member of our club. He's a local veterinarian. He served our club as past president from 1980 to 81. And I've known, Dorsey was one of the first people I met when I moved to Lakeland. We go to church together as well as being members here. And the word that comes to mind when I think of Dorsey, if I had to describe him in one word, and you may have others that we'd like to hear, I would think of him as an encourager. So whatever your thoughts are, and there are many to describe, we could have some feedback. But he is one of my favorite people, both in and out of this club in Lakeland. So.
I'm going to have to listen pretty fast. I've eaten a lot of Jim Bo's amazing amount of courage that Jenna has shown, as she said, being transparent. My quick history, I've done this is my third time, and none of this is ever going to fit together because I've lied. Two-way test is there for me for quite some time. Two-way test versus the quantity, but we didn't do that here. Anyway, I was born April the 29th of 1943 in Ella, Georgia. How many have ever heard of Ella? I appreciate that. It's a sympathy thing, I'm sure. My dad went into pilot training to Texas. We went with him. And then he decided he wanted a warmer place than North Georgia. So we moved to Winter Haven. And my dad was a 38 graduate of the University of Georgia. I have a granddaughter there just now. It was Auburn until they said, "You got to feel right acting. Go Dogs." And my mother went the oldest of 12 children. Father was a minister. My grandmother popped out a child every 2 years, no matter what. 12 of them. And she went to Berry College. It's not Barry, it's Berry. It's the largest campus in the world, 30,000 acres. My folks met. My mother graduated there in home economics. My father was at Georgia in agronomy. They met in Blairsville and eloped. Lived, married for many years, both deceased. I had an older brother, Charles, younger brother, Terry, who's a minister. I attended Winter Haven schools. My mom was a teacher, my dad was USDA. Keep listening fast. I played baseball for Winter Haven High School for Jim Whitney. I was a third baseman. I also got to talk my dad into playing football, JV football. I was on record, the smallest tackling dummy for the JV team that has ever been in history at Winter Haven High School. In 10th grade, we had to do a vocational theme, veterinary medicine. My early career started, I had a pet crow, and there was no Obamacare for crows at this time, so my father would let me take him in. He had a tumor. I fixed up my surgical equipment, I think I was 10 or 12. And I got a lot of styptic powder, and I removed the tumor, used the styptic powder in 3 or 4 days, with no spiritual, supernatural healing. The scab fell off, and the crow was fine. But anyway, I just kind of knew where I was headed. And anyway, at that vocational theme at Winter Haven, it was on veterinary medicine. First time I ever heard of Auburn. Where's that? But anyway, it made it easy for me. I wrote a paper on it, did well. I was in the Key Club. Kiwanian, Dexter Daniels Jr., who passed away about a year ago, he took me to a Kiwanis meeting. Dick knows him, reviewed him. Anyway, I got the idea of a service club. So, anyway, in '61, I graduated, went to Berry College, took pre-vet courses for 1 year, worked in the kitchen. I did notice one thing. When I left that kitchen, there was a rope hanging. Sometimes I would just give it a pull. I noticed, maybe it was just a coincidence, but fire trucks would descend on that building, and I was on my way back to my dorm, and I think they needed some training. Some I played third base for the baseball team there, and I ran track, and enjoyed that. But I got all the pre-vet courses done in 1 year, which is all they had. It wasn't because I was smart. Came back to University of Florida, 62 to 64. Went on a blind date with Sandy. Her still my dog tried to bite me, but we got through that. Anyway, I was accepted to Auburn University and went up there. And she was graduated from FSU, and we got married, right? I used to hitchhike from Gainesville over to see her. One time I was standing on the street corner at Tallahassee, and I had an economics midterm at 8 o'clock the next morning. I had no idea how I was going to get back, but I made it. Anyway, Sandy taught school for 3 years at Phoenix City, Sin City, Alabama. She started graduate school there. I signed up for the early commission while I was in that school. They delayed me. They'd asked some of us to possibly teach, so that didn't materialize. So I I was delayed in the Air Force. Came here, worked for Dr. J.E. Daniels, Chip Daniels' dad, Georgia graduate. Went on active duty in '69 to Shepherd Air Force Base. Carrie, our oldest daughter, who will be 50 in October, was born here. Second daughter was born in Columbus, Mississippi, a month before we got out. Spent 4 years in inactive reserve. I was a base veterinarian in Columbus, Mississippi. Loved it, loved the people. Anyway, came back, started Santa Fe Animal Hospital, leased that building, Cummings Road 92 for 3.5 years, built Santa Fe across the street from the Catholic school. Then I built Airport Animal Hospital out on Cranefield Road. Sold that to Sam Meisler, Ray Brooks' son. He sold it to Dr. Donna, who's in our club and is a great person, doing a great job out there. Third daughter was born here in '72. Son was important that some of you have been to. He's a dermatologist in the human field. Hobbies, I like to jog, hike, play guitar, read, travel. We go to Colorado and Wyoming quite a bit. My profession, 50 years this coming October from graduating from Auburn. I see a lot of my friends. I was at Florida with them for several years, and then Auburn. Most of them are still practicing like I am. Graduated from Auburn School of Veterinary Medicine in 1968, and civically, Sandy and I were involved in Central Florida Speech and Hearing for 15 years, and 9 in civic. Currently, I was an elder in our church for 17 years. Currently, I'm on the board of Mount Dora Christian Academy and Children's Home. They've been open since 1945. I used to supply orphans so somebody wanted to adopt a child. I'm a founding member of the Parkway Veterinary Emergency Clinic. We've been open every night, every weekend, since May of '82. And asked me if that's easy to staff. Anyway, we've tried to do a really good job of that, and I know a lot of you have been there. We appreciate that. I've done a lot of relief work, worked at almost every hospital in Polk County. My wife signed me up for this. I did not. Leadership 4, Lakeland 4, and a lot of you guys, Leadership Code 4, Don and Bill Lutz, and a lot of wonderful Rotarians. And on a personal note, Point Mason at a chamber meeting invited me in 1972 to come to this club. In the 80s, was mentioned, I was president of this club. We went to Chicago to the #1 club. Awesome experience. It really, really was. We have so many fun members of this club. Beach weekends, garage sales, spaghetti festival. Always involved Sandy and our 4 children because it was part of my life. It still is. We hosted a group study exchange, a team from Sweden. Great experience. We got to visit him over there. I think all good things should be shared. And I've been fortunate enough to forgive me for some of this. I brought in Fred Oders, Steve Stambaugh, Charlie Faulkner, and they've all become presidents of this club. Eventually, I brought in Pam Craven, Steve Gross, and these are crowning jewels because they are involved here, and I'm really proud that I could bring them in. New Rotarian, he's not a new Rotarian, but just met Mo, and I'm happy to have him visit with us. As far as some giants, I used to sit here mainly because I can't hear and I can't see and I want to be involved. So I sit on this front row, not because I don't want to be back there with the rest of you, but Carter Poland, Willie Wilson, Henry McIntosh, I knew Bruce Renfro, Bruce Wagner, could go on. These guys are giants. Believe me, I've sat with them and miss them terribly. On a serious note, I'd like us all to stand for a moment. Let's give Point Mason a big Semper Fi. Semper Fi. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Hans, Jenna, and Dorsey. It's always great to learn more about our members. I think it's what makes us the club that we are and strengthens the bonds that we have.